credit card, you have a year and a half to pay that off. So we're going to start out with the Kennedy $50 set. Now, this is the 1964 to 2025 uncirculated John F. Kennedy $50. It's the first airing. This is new today. You can, for $35 a month for a year, VIP financing, we'll mail them to you, which is, $35.
And it's new today because we've added the 2025
Yeah.
Okay, prior to this, we the same exact price for 2024, but now we've just gone up to 2025. And so it's every year of the Kennedy $50 in uncirculated condition from 1964.
You don't get the box with it.
Of course.
That is a fancy box. That's like piano finish.
This is our fanciest box.
I didn't know that that was included.
Look at this. So look at this box. The piano. This is the. Oops, did I put it up there backwards?
You did.
I sure did. This is what we call our piano finish box.
Ooh.
Look at that. That is
wow.
soft. Even the lid is wood. It's all wood, and this is the way it comes to you. There you go. One tray, two trays, and we have enough so that you can keep going for another 8 years of buying your Kennedy $50 that you put in there. Every one of them brilliant, uncirculated condition from 1964 to 2025. Now, I have the nationally advertised brand new box.
Yeah.
That's the varnish. Yeah.
That's the varnish, and you just get a whiff of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice and polished stuff.
Yeah, it's nice and polished.
Yeah.
The varnish on that is good.
And we're super limited. I just saw how many we have left.
And it took us, what, 2 months? Month and a half? To,
we have 120 of these?
We have 120. That's all we have.
Oh, okay.
Understand it takes me that long, and I'll explain to you why. So coin by coin, I did the whole coin by coin, $700, coin by coin.
But we're not even close to that.
But the box is like $100.
No, I was going to say the value of the box alone, because that's the piano finish red oak presentation box, and we include that sometimes with some high-end collections.
Not this box.
But this one is custom.
This is absolutely custom. It is stunning. I mean, look at the hinges on this. I mean, those are the individual brass hinges, and this is the way that it does. And you put every single one of these coins in here, and every single one of them is in their own individual airtight holder, so you can take it out, inspect it without any risk of damaging the coins in any way, shape, or form. So that's another 100. So we're really looking at about an $800 value here for $419.99. Now, here's the situation.
Yeah.
It's not just that you're saving about $400, because it's called $350 just to be safe. Not just that you're saving $350. It's the fact that one call gets every single solitary one of them. And as I was talking about earlier, from starting in 2001, the United States government stopped making Kennedy $50 for circulation. In other words, they stopped giving them to the banks. So you couldn't give them at a bank or a post office for the last 25 years. The Kennedy $50 could only be bought from the United States Mint, and they could only be bought in bags or rolls. So you had to buy 20 coins or 40 coins. Actually 40 coins are like 100 coins. It was the only way to get Kennedy $50. And many of these years, 2003s, 2004s, 2005s, are phenomenally, insanely difficult to get. Let me get to my price sheet again, and I can tell you what some of these are. And so with one phone call, you can get every single year of the Kennedy $50, which I find to be absolutely, truly amazing. And that is the real That's the real beauty of this, is what you have. So when you look at in here, yeah, so like the 1982. So 82, they didn't release it to the general public. The 1982 is a $30 coin. The 1983 is a $20 coin.
Oh my.
So those two coins are $50. And then, of course, you have the 1964 is a $40 coin, because these are all silver. 24, 20, 23.95,
I think you need to rethink the price of this one.
And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at this. I know these prices a little. Well, I know this coin's now $49.95, and I know these are $28.50 a piece on those. So that's another. And the biggest coin is the 1970 that you have right there. It only came, it only came in proof sets and mint sets. So this one had to come out of a mint set since it's uncirculated. $60.50.
Oh my!
For
so
the 1970.
You have to like literally crack the lens to get it out.
Crack that to get it out. It's the only way to be able to get these. So the thing comes down to every single year of the Kennedy $50, every single one of them basically is sold out, limited edition, of course, except for the 2025, which was just released.
Just released.
So you're going to get that 2025, and so these sets become incredibly, incredibly difficult to put together. So I get them about about every 2, maybe 3 months, maybe every 2 or 3 months, I'm able to put together enough. Now, every single coin is individually hand-selected. Each coin is individually hand-selected to make sure that it's original, brilliant, uncirculated condition. So then we have the box, and let's call the box $79.95 to be safe. But then you've got 60 of the airtight holders. Those, by the way, are 80 cents a piece.
Yeah.
So you have $50 worth of acrylic holders in here. Believe me, that is not insignificant. So, you know, all of a sudden it's $120 in packaging on this. And then you get every single year from, and like I said, 1964 to 1970 are all silver. So these are all silver coins. You can see they look different. See how they look different?
They do.
Then, of course, they have the bicentennial and all those other coins in there as well. So the difficulty of this is very simply just that's the coin right there, of the regular kind of non-silver coins.
Didn't you tell me that the First Lady, Jackie Kennedy, had a comment about his hair?
We can look at that. So let's look at the 1964 and get the camera shot ready on the 2025. So when they did this, they used his his inaugural medallion. And so if you go to 1964, yeah, this one right up here, 1964, they asked Jackie Kennedy, do you approve of this image? She says, well, I think he should have a fuller head of hair. And so in 1964, this is what it looked like. If you looked at it, look how, you know, kind of
That was the very first one.
Yeah, that's right. So look at how full all those hairlines are that in there. Now look at the 2025.
Which is this one right here?
That one right there.
Okay.
The last coin in the set. Now get in close on those hairlines, and you'll notice they've lost a few. They've kind of blended together. Okay, a little more Brill cream there is what I'm assuming. Is what they.
But I know, like the hair, there was like this thing about it.
Yeah, it was a big thing. You know, JFK, I mean, he's kind of famous in a lot of ways for his hair.
Yes.
You know, he was.
Well,
he
for
had a
being
nice,
handsome.
Yeah,
I know
he
you're
was
not
handsome, had a nice head.
you don't say it that way, Mike. But
Yeah,
that's
I'm not going to
yeah.
say that. Yeah.
I know you'd never say that, but yes, he was known for being handsome.
So, you know, you put all that together, and so because of this, look, if it were not for the assassination of John F. Kennedy, these would all be Franklin half dollars. The Franklin half dollars would have been going from 1948 to 2025. We don't change
I
mintages.
love that shot of the two
there
next
you go.
to each
Look
other.
at that, guys. So you can see
love
the hair
that.
difference. See how it's much more individual in the 1964, and then, you know, over the years they go, you know, it's just a little bit easier. It's easier to kind of see how it's just a little clumpier.
Oh, wow.
There, yeah. And there's actually a variety of the 1964 early on in the strike called the full hair variety, where it's even more. It's
literally called that?
It's literally called that. There's even more individual hairs in each and every one of these. And so, you know, all the time. So now we're starting to roll. So here's what happened. Everybody's listening to the set. Everybody understands that, you know, you get every single year the Kennedy half dollar.
I love these behind the scenes stories of these coins.
Yeah,
that you always bring us.
and that's what it is. When you're doing this, you know, your whole life, you know, those are kind of things. So one of the things that I remember is like when the Kennedy half dollar came out, there were lines around the block at banks just to literally pick up change. I mean, it was just change, literally change, and they had to limit the number of half dollars that you could get at the bank. And back then, we actually spent a lot more half dollars with that. So what we have now is this fantastic opportunity to get every single Kennedy half dollars. And the real challenge for not only collectors, but for dealers is the fact since 2001, they've not released the Kennedy half dollar to the general public. So they didn't make any for them. And so the mintages just absolutely cratered. And so the mintages are fantastically rare. To get an idea of what that's going to mean, we showed that 1982 earlier. Excuse me. In 1982 and 1983, they didn't make what are called mint sets. That's where most of these coins come from. People open up mint sets.
But if they didn't make them in cents, where did they come from?
Well, there was some people had to put rolls or bags away. That's why it's a $30 coin and a $20 coin.
Oh, okay.
Because they're far, far more difficult to get, the 82 and 83. Okay, so that 82, that is the key regular issue non-silver coin in the entire set. $30 for that coin and about $20 for the 83. So the 82 and 83 are key dates in this particular set. And so, you know, now you get all of those together, all in their own individual holders, so you can take it out. So, you know, when you get this home, you can compare your own. to the 64, like I said, the hairline's on the 64,
Yeah,
and the 2025 as well. So, you know, put that together, and then, you know, they have in this spectacular, I like to call it a coffee table box, if you will.
It's gorgeous.
It's just absolutely stunning how these come to you in this solid red oak presentation box.
With the piano finish,
look at
it's
this,
just
and it's got the
gorgeous.
felt on the bottom.
Wow.
It's got these spectacular all brass piano hinges as well.
And then there's 2 rows of collected coins. You've
just
got,
like that.
Look at that.
So you've got, there's the first coins, and then you get in there, you got enough to add in for another 8 years. Obviously, one of the #1 sets that we have when we get it in stock. We only get it a couple of times a year.
Oh, I don't.
We've already sold about, I think we had, you know, HSN has a funny way of counting. We had
Yes.
100, okay? So, you know what I mean? There's that I don't want to explain it.
I know.
But
I
I had
get it.
100 sets, okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay, and we've sold like 40% of those. And what happens is we get towards the end of the presentation here, okay, everybody's listening to the hair stories and all this other stuff.
Right.
And now they're realizing, okay, well, I need to get this, I need
Right.
to order this. And now they're flying out of here.
I will say I did bring up the hair story.
Yeah, which is good.
I love the stories. These are
but
the
you
stories
can
I
watch
love.
it. You can watch it change through the
Yeah,
years. You literally
I do.
can.
I love the behind the scenes. I love that you're basically collecting history.
Yes,
And if you're a
100%.
history buff like I am, you're literally collecting history. And it's just spectacular that Mike has done the hard part for you, because it's not what you know, it's who you know, and you got to know somebody to get every single one.
Now, here's the thing. There's certain coins, you know, some of the coins can be kind of easy to get.
Right.
These are not them
but
coins.
not all of them. You're right.
These coins are extremely difficult to get. So
Right.
not only, like I said, coin by
They
coin.
go from difficult to very difficult.
To very difficult,
Yeah.
exactly, to almost impossible. And so, like I said, coin by coin, we're about $700, a little over $700.
And that doesn't include the red oak presentation box.
So now you put in the other stuff.
Or the lenses themselves.
Now you're well over $800. And we're $419.95.
This really, I mean, we don't talk about like, oh, what a steal of a deal, but that's really what this is.
And it is. And here's the thing. The completeness is really the story here. With one call, you get them all. That's really the incredible story of this, is the fact that with one call, you can get every single year
one.
of the Kennedy half dollar. And